Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mocha Latte After Dark. I am your host, JJ Fitzgerald, and today's topic is, what is it really like to be in a long-distance relationship? I have two very special guests on the show today, my daughter, Dee, and her boyfriend, Mohammed. Please introduce yourself and tell us where you're located, and what do you both do?
Hi, my name is Mohammed. I'm located in England, in Manchester, and I'm currently studying to become a personal trainer.
Hi, I'm Dee, and I'm in the US, and I'm studying to be a music engineer.
I guess my first question is, and this is an obvious question, how did the two of you meet?
Easy. So what happened was I was on a dating site called Badoo, and I was going through all the people and everything. I was on there for I want to say a few days, and then I saw him, and I liked his suit. And then I looked in his eyes, and I like to look in people's eyes, see if they're crazy, and I didn't see anything. And I was like, oh, he looks like a nice person. So then I texted him, and I said, nice suit. So I shot my shot.
That was very bold of you.
I know.
And how did he respond to that?
What did you say? You said I was beautiful?
I said I was just happy because I was I was going to message you. I was just waiting a couple of hours, but she texted me before. So we just started a conversation, and instantly I noticed that we had great chemistry. Usually I've been, before that I was in dating sites for a couple of months, and before experience with other girls, I couldn't really have a conversation. So I was happy how fluent it was.
Now, how long ago was that?
Almost a year, almost.
Yeah, June 5th.
Maybe a year.
Now, was there a clear plan in place when you determined that you liked each other? Were there talks of someone relocating eventually if things really, really went well?
Well, she was already planning to come here to England. So yeah, the talks always for her to come here and eventually live together and have a relationship. The chemistry was so good that I was always going to be friends with her.
I agree with what he's saying. I wanted to live there already. And I wasn't specifically looking for a boyfriend. I just wanted to make friends there. So if I wanted to visit, I could be oh, I can stay with this person or whatever. But I agree. I wanted to move there even more once I met him, because I was oh, this guy's really nice. I really like him. And like he said, we had really good chemistry.
Yeah, I remember in her bio in Badoo, it said, only to make friends, something like that.
Do you think it was a divine connection?
Yes. Because I prayed, okay? And I don't want to sound like Sierra right now, but I prayed I want to say 3 or 2 days before I met him. And I was oh, this is what I want. And I prayed for 2 hours. And I feel like that was the longest I've ever prayed in my life. And I was just talking to God about what I want. And because you're always saying, you got to give a whole list of everything. You have to be specific. I remember, I don't remember everything I said, but I remember saying I want my family to love him. And so once you guys started really liking him, I was okay, it's God. So yeah, that's how I felt.
I didn't pray exactly to have a relationship. But when I saw her, my first thought was, please be real, because she looked really beautiful. But I wasn't specifically looking for a relationship, which makes it even better because it was something in effect. But I am grateful for it.
So you both are pretty much on the same page as far as you're really looking just for friends.
Yeah.
I didn't really believe in just lost my job. I was a bit bored, but I didn't really think about dating stuff like that. But hey, turns out it works.
How long was it before you met face to face?
6 months.
6 months, yeah.
We met in December 12th. December 13th, really, because it's a different time zone. But yeah, I was supposed to go to the UK, and they were no, we're not having you guys come over here because COVID. So I was we're never going to meet. Like, I was like giving up, and he was like, no, we could find some other places. So like he went on like this list, like this site that had lists of like places you could go that weren't as like restricted. And he was like, you want to go to Turkey? And I was like, sure. And so like we were planning it, and then we met
A little
December.
scared at first.
Yeah, I was really scared, to be honest, because it was another country and I would be going by myself. It wasn't like, oh, my mom's coming with me. So I was nervous, and I was like, I don't know how it is in another country, because here it's like kind of like free for all, but I know in other countries it's more restricted and stuff. So I was nervous about that and just like safety, because I'm a female. And he was like, don't be scared. It's going to be fine. I'll protect you and all this stuff. So then I flew for 24 hours. That was the longest I've ever flown in my life. It was like really painful because we have to wear your mask for hours, and then you're in other countries, and it's just kind of like you just want to take a shower and go to sleep. But then once I got to Turkey, I was like wide awake. Like I wasn't tired. I was all excited. I couldn't really sleep and everything.
For me, it was short because I live in Europe, so it was like a 4-hour flight. So I took a nap and I was there, and we organized really well because our flights were like 30 minutes different. So I arrived first, and I was just waiting for her, and I was like super nervous. Yeah, she has to go through customs and everything. Yeah, it took her a bit longer, and because of COVID, there's not a lot of people traveling. So I was almost by myself at the airport. Yeah. There's like a couple of people, at least in that area, and international travel. So it was interesting, but I was really excited. I remember I was nervous and excited at the same time.
What were some of your concerns before you took the journey to me for the first time?
I was nervous about my safety, mainly, not with him, but just in other country. And because I know in other places, some things that we do in America could be seen as offensive in other places. So I was just more concerned about like, oh, if I do this or something, you know, like being kind of like, oh, you're saying F you or something. It's like I was worried about like the cultural difference. But I wasn't really nervous with him. Like, yeah, I was more excited, to be honest. Plus, like, you read his picture, like his energy and everything. So I was like, okay, if she's not saying anything, then that's a good sign. So I wasn't really nervous about him, just about like other people, really.
I didn't have any concern, to be honest. I was really confident. I was very confident about her, maybe because we talked for like 6 months before. And yeah, and I've been traveling for a while on my own. So I didn't have any bad feelings.
What was your immediate thought when you saw each other for the very first time?
Mine was like finally, because I was looking forward to meet her so bad. And plus I was waiting, I got there first, so I was waiting there for some time. So I was finally I think I get to be with her.
I was nervous because like initially I was supposed to get there first, but I had like the plane was like stuck when I was supposed to go to Germany, so for like an hour. So I was like, oh crap, like because I was prepared to see like be waiting for him, so I would have like my stuff together and I would like know what to say. But then it was like I knew he was already there, so like I was going through the airport and I was getting all my stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, this is really about to happen right now. And I was excited, but I was scared because in the past, and you know this, people, and this is going to sound trivial, but people lie about their height. So I was like, oh my goodness, what if this guy is not like his height, and like what if he's totally a different person and everything. And like when I saw him, like the first thing I said was, oh shit. And like I was just standing there and he wasn't looking at me, he was looking at his phone, and I was just standing there like, oh my gosh. So then I walked over and everything, and like he stood up like that and I saw his height and I was like, oh, I'm not going to go into details about that part, but I was like, wow. Because he was his actual height. So I was like, thank you, God. And plus, I wanted to film, but I couldn't text him to say, hey, I'm here. So it was like, it kind of felt like it wasn't prepared. So I was kind of worried about that because I wasn't prepared. I just came out and I thought customs was going to be harder. And then I walked through and I saw him. So I just kind of felt like it wasn't as prepared as I would like it to be, but I was still excited.
What did you learn about each other that you didn't know before?
She's way nicer in person. Don't get me wrong, she's
That's
nice.
true. No, it's
She's
true.
nice, but maybe it's the distance, and maybe that's why we had problems. But we didn't have really a lot of problems. Like we were probably my two happiest weeks of my life. So that's what surprised me.
I learned he's more affectionate in the house. I feel like more like in public, he acts more like tough guyish, like how he walks and he's like that. And then in the house, he's like a baby. And I was like, oh, okay. Because like when we were in public and everything, he was kind of like more masculine, I guess, because he was like, don't mess with us. I don't know. But then like in the house, he would be like all cuddled up with me and like, you know, like kind of whiny. And I'm like, oh, like this guy's cute. Well, I kind of already knew this, but I feel like in person, he's more like generous. Like if I'm like hungry, he's like, are you hungry? And I'm like, yeah. And he'll like buy a bunch of food. He got me really fat, but I still loved him.
And also, she loves to wash her clothes. Like she loves to do the laundry a lot.
Yeah, I was doing laundry every day. And the reason for this is because over there, I don't know why in Europe, it's like you guys have smaller washing machines. Yeah, I like to do laundry.
So when you were parting ways to return back to your respective countries, what was that moment like? And what were your what's next?
Oh, that's a good
plans?
question.
We were sad. We were
Yeah.
really sad. We started crying in the
Aw.
airport.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like
gosh.
one of those movies.
It was like a movie, but
Yeah.
except where the person doesn't run and say, marry me. And then they, you know, the plane gets held up and everyone's like this. It was the opposite of that. You know, like it was really sad. Like I first of all, I was really tired because I hadn't slept. I was just up all day trying to spend as much time because I was like, we don't have much time left. I was sad, but I didn't want him to see that I was sad. And like I remember you kept texting me, you're like, are you gonna be sad? And I was like, no, I'm not gonna be sad. But like it was so sad. Like I kept saying, oh, my stomach was hurting because I didn't want to think about it, but my stomach wasn't hurting. I was just saying stuff because I was trying to deflect. And he kept saying, I'm gonna miss you and all this stuff. And like every time he would say that, like I would just like look away because I was like, no, I don't want to start crying right now. So we're standing there and I was like looking at him and then I started crying and then he started crying and I was like, okay. And he was like, it's going to be okay. We're going to see each other again and like all this stuff. I was just like, how are we going to see each other now? Like, because I knew it was going to be probably harder this time around because like there's going to be probably more restrictions. They're going to want you to get vaccinated. It's going to be all this crap. So I was just like, great, you know, but like he said, I was happy because I got to spend time with him, but I was still sad because I spent time with him and I got to know him more and I liked him more than I did when I first came there. So it was sad. Yeah.
We were doing a lot of stuff in the airport, so it didn't hit me until like the last hour, half an hour. So that's when we started talking and about like leaving. And I remember there was some Asian people watching us.
Yeah, they were looking at us like, so it sucks. It sucks,
Yeah.
people.
Dee, you are a Black woman.
Yes.
Mohammed, you are a Pakistani man.
Yes.
What was it like to tell your family about each other?
Yeah, for me and my family, their main concern was, is she Muslim or does she understand the religion? Is she gonna, when we have kids one day, you're gonna teach about the culture and everything? Because I had this conversation way before meeting Dee with my mom, and she, my mom already knew that I like black women, so she kind of expected me. And yeah, so that was the most difficult part to explain. Dee not being Muslim, I was more concerned about that. But she's very open-minded, and she was already into the religion before even meeting me, and she's very respectful. So once I explained everything, it was cool.
Thank you, Mohammed. Dee,
Yes, ma'am.
what was it like telling your family?
It was easy. My family, they're international lovers. So so they're like, hey, whatever, I don't care. Especially my mom, you. She's very understanding of different cultures and religions. She's not like, oh, you have to be with this person, you have to be with that person. She's like, if you like the person and they're being respectful of you and your family and everything, then be with the person. I don't care. I was just praying that you would like him. That's it. Like, that was my main concern. I wasn't like, oh, she's not gonna like him because he's Pakistani, or she's not gonna like him because he's Muslim. I was just like, I just hope she doesn't get any bad energy from him or anything, because I really like this guy. I kind of did it spontaneously, and he was on the phone, and you came in my room, I remember, and I was like, I'm gonna tell my mom that we're talking, and he was like, no, 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 no. And then I was like, Mom, I have to tell you something. I'm talking to someone. And you were like, okay, nice. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you want to see him? And you were like, no, I don't want to, because you were just like, listen, just do your thing. And I was like, no, look at him. And then she was like, oh, he's cute. And I was like, I know. And Muhammad was laughing on the phone because he could hear everything. And then I was like, oh, yeah, he got me a Topshop gift card too. And you were like, oh, okay, I really like him. So I was like, cool. And like, I was kind of trying to tell you by playing music. Like, I would play Si Tangana and like all this Spanish music. Like, okay, she's gonna know something's up because I'm playing all this Spanish music out of the blue. So, but you were oblivious, so I was like, okay, she doesn't know.
Yeah, I wasn't catching the hints that you were throwing. Because the thing is, you listen to all kinds of music.
But then I said, oh, I'm gonna marry a Pakistani guy, and he's gonna be tall and he's gonna be fit. And she was like, okay, marry, I don't care. She was like, okay. I kept saying it, and he would be on the phone, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna look like this. Like, I was describing Muhammad, and she was like, oh, okay, like, I hope that happens for you,
Yeah, I was pretty clueless. What are some of the cons of a long distance relationship?
Almost everything is a con, and the main problem for us is it's not only the distance, but it's the time. Like, there's a 7-hour time difference. We have to organize. We want to spend time together, and that's one of the things that causes more problem. And not obviously not being able to see each other, that hurts.
Yeah, I agree. Because like, when we first started talking, like, I would wait for him to wake up. So like, it would be like the morning time, so it would be like 3 here, sometimes 6. So I would just be up waiting, and then like, we switched roles, so then he would be up all night long with me, so he was barely sleeping. So it's like, you want to sleep, but you don't at the same time, because you want to spend time with the person. Like, it's really hard because, like you said, we have like 7-hour difference. So yeah, that's definitely a con. And then, like he said, not being able to see each other like regularly is hard.
Now that you've shared the cons, what would you say that some of the pros are?
It's hard to find pros, but one of the pros is actually when you meet, you appreciate and you're more grateful, because we barely see each other like once or twice a year.
Yeah. I guess like that's a pro too. I guess pro is, it kind of makes you save money, because you're like, I want to see this person. Like, it's almost like an investment, but like a good investment. So I was just, really grateful, like, when I put my money into it and it wasn't like ill, like I just wasted my time, because it's a lot of money, especially now. Like I said, some places you have to get like PCR tests, and if you don't have insurance, it's like $200 for that. And then some places have entry fees, and it's like it's just a lot of money that you have to really be able to do this. And like we're both really young, so we're not like balling like that. So it's really an investment, like if you think about it, because like you have to have the money to be able to see each other, and Airbnbs and like the flights and everything. It's really an investment.
I think every relationship is an investment.
Yeah.
Investing your time, your money, your love, everything.
Yeah.
It's better when you know it's the right person.
Exactly.
Would you say another pro is when there is that distance between you, you basically are forced to really get to know one another and not jump so quickly into something physical?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You know, we're actually there for each other. It's not something just physical.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have, and I've seen it. A lot of people, they only with each other because they like each other physically, and then they okay. And yeah, I've seen it with friends, and pretty obvious that I had. So in our case, we know 100% because no one would go through all
Exactly.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pro for sure, because like I've had my moments with him where I'm like, let's just like stop. Let's just stop dating. Let's just whatever. And he's like, no. And like a part of me, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Like he wants to struggle with me. That's beautiful, you know? Like, cause like he said, like some people, they just want to have sex with each other. Like, and it's very obvious. Like they don't really want to be with each other. Um, like if you're like, oh, you guys gonna get married, they're like, what? But for us, we're like, yeah, like we want to get married. Like, what the freak?
How do you guys maintain your relationship with all of these cons that you've mentioned? How do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it fun?
We watch fights. We watch UFC fights. This guy, I've never watched a fight before in my life. And like at first I was like, I don't understand. Like they're just trying to kill each other. But then like I watch it and it's like actually fun to watch, especially with him, because he gets very into it. Like he will like get amped and like like that. And then like sometimes we like paint together, because I like to paint. So it's like we do different things. So like if I like something, he'll be like, okay, I'll do it with you. And then if he likes something, I'm like, I'll do that with you. We were gonna do like a Black History Month watch party type of thing, and I was like suggesting all of these like black movies, and I was like, okay, we're gonna watch this one tomorrow, we're gonna watch this one next day, whatever. And like some of the movies he actually really liked.
Soul food.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, Soul Food. He loves that movie. I love that movie too. So I was like, cool, this is good. So it's nice because we're not only like spending time with each other, but we're putting each other onto different things. Like even if we're just kind of like listening to music, because I love music, he loves music. That's also kind of like spending time or like just talking.
We made a playlist together where we had all the songs. She really has a great taste for music. That helps.
He does too.
Well, we have a lot of date nights planned, and we have like, today we're gonna do this. Today we're gonna paint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She has a keyboard. I have a piano, so sometimes we try. I'm terrible at it.
No, you're not. You're not bad.
Thank you. And yeah, we do stuff like that, and we talk about our day every day, knowing that we might not be physically with each other, but we're always gonna be.
In our hearts, we are still together. Even if we're not physically together, we're still together in our hearts. I'll be like, oh, I like this dress, of like wedding dress. We like to look at future stuff, or I send him babies because I love babies. That's what we do. That's how we kind of manage through this.
Yeah, we plan.
Yeah.
For the future.
Do you ever have moments, and it sounds like you may, where you feel, I think you said something about this, Dee, where you feel discouraged and you feel like throwing the towel in, despite all of the time and the money and the energy and the love that you've put in? If you do have those moments, how do you remedy those?
Yeah, I've had those moments a lot. Like I feel like I've had them more than he has. So I could become negative and like say things like we're never gonna see each other. Like when I first met him, and he was like, "No, we're gonna see each other," and I was like, "Whatever," you know. So I have my moments. I'm like, why don't we just be friends or something? Because I guess because it's like it's just hard. A lot of emotions are put into it. But like what I try to do, I just try to like I let myself have those moments because I feel like when you're in this, you're gonna have those moments. You're not gonna always be like positive. And then like I just try to think of like positive things. Sometimes I'll just look on Airbnb at places I want to go, like Spain. And like I'll have like a file with all the places I want to go to. Or I'll just talk to Mohammed about it and like he'll let me like vent and then he'll say we're gonna see each other or he'll say like you want to look at stuff.
But I think about would we have this problem if we were actually physically together? Usually the answer is no. So it's usually stuff that you get discouraged because you're in different place. So but you have to look for future. Do you wanna suffer now and have a happy life later? Or do you just gonna give up and then be miserable for the rest of your life?
He said that before, like he said that before to me, like, oh, like eventually it'll get better and like we'll be together and stuff. I feel like that will happen, like in my gut, like I know eventually we'll be together. I just hate the suffering part because like no one wants to suffer, but I feel like okay, well at least I know I want to be with this person. Like I feel like if I didn't, first of all, if I didn't like him, we wouldn't be here right now. But because I really love him
I love you
and
too.
I'm like, okay, you know, and I kind of see it as a challenge and I like kind of like challenges. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to win this at the end of the day. Even though we go through all this stuff, he's still dedicated. He's not like, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. Like he tries really hard with me and like we just like he said we have a lot of chemistry. I want a family. I have like a whole future that I want and he's the same way. So I guess that's another reason why too like I'm like okay, I'm not going to give up on this because it's so hard. Like it's so freaking hard out there to find someone that's on the same level as you and wants the same thing. Especially now because my generation we suck, we really suck, but like he's very mature and a lot of guys are not mature. Everyone is, it's like either they just have the mind of a newborn baby almost, like it's weird, like it's like
They don't want commitment.
yeah, they don't care about commitment, they don't care about, they just like I want it now. Okay, that's it. There's no long-term goals in this generation. You already know. Everyone knows. You go on social media, everyone thinks they're a freaking actress now because they made a TikTok. You know, I just don't want to deal with those type of people. Okay, sorry, no offense, but I don't want to deal with those type of people. I want to be with someone who is like mature and has like a whole goal and is like, okay, this is what I want. I want you to be in my life. I want to marry you. That's what I like. When we're together, I'm really happy. Like I am so freaking happy. And you can tell I'm happy because both my dimples show. I like being around him. Like he's one of my favorite people.
So, would you say the main attribute that one needs to possess to have a successful long distance relationship would be patience?
Yes.
If you don't have patience, then you have to work on it a lot.
Yeah. That's me.
She has patience, but yeah, she's sometimes. I guess she has her reasons to be negative, but yeah, compared to me, she's very negative.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, she'll go. She's a fighter. She'll go through it.
Thank you. I'm trying to be more patient because I know like if I don't, like you like to say, I'm gonna suffer longer.
What is the one thing about each other that still makes you tingle or
Pictures. Lots of pictures. He goes to the gym, obviously. And he'll send me pictures like when he goes to the gym, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Just like when we went to Turkey and we went to the Blue Mosque, he was like, I'm gonna go pray. And I don't know what happened, but I don't know if I was in shock, and not like in a bad way, but like, oh my gosh, like I felt so, I don't know how to explain it, like warm inside, because he was like showing me his life, you know, like really showing me. And I know like for him, his religion is really important. So I'm like, he's not just gonna have anyone around, you know, that. So I was just really like, oh my gosh, like it made me really fall in love with him when he's like, I'm gonna go pray. And like I saw him pray and I was like, ah. And when he likes my pictures, when he says I look cute, and when he's like, send me pictures, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for me, obviously she's beautiful. So
Thank
every
you.
time I see her, I'm like, yeah. And also two more things. One is the comedy part. She's really funny. Like when we're talking to each other, it really makes me laugh. And then she's talented. I've seen her like mix, like she has a DJ, like I don't know what you call it, a DJ. Yeah, table, a mixing table. And she's really talented in music and in art in general. Every time I watch her do anything like that, paint or making beats or songs or make, I really, it's like a reminder that I'm like, oh, she's really talented. So it makes me like proud of her.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's the other thing. When he looks at me, sometimes he looks at me when I'm not looking, but I know he's looking, so I try to look extra cute, so I'm like doing whatever because I'm like, he's looking at me right now. So when he looks at me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I think that's adorable. So yeah, when he looks at me, and like when I was trying to teach him a song that he likes by C. Tangana on the piano. And like when we do that type of stuff, when we're creative together, that is like amazing to me. New Year's, he was like, make a diss track against me for fun.
That's funny.
And we did it, and I did it, and then he was laughing, and he was laughing at it and everything, and it was just fun. Like we have fun, and he's funny too.
What advice would you give other people who are in the midst of a long distance relationship or thinking about beginning one?
My advice would be make sure that it's the right person, get to know each other, and like make sure of that. Because if it's not, then it's not gonna last long. And maybe if once you meet, maybe there's more problems, and then you just give up, feel like you wasted time. If you don't have like a finish line where you meet each other and actually get to be with each other, like not just for vacations or not just once a year, but living together, being in the same place, it's not gonna work.
My advice would be, if you really want to be with the person, then go for it. Try to have good communication with each other, because that is key. And it might be hard because of the distance and the time zone thing, but try to have like a common ground with your communication. Like, feel like, okay, we're going to talk this day at this time. Like, if you have to schedule it, do that, because if you're not communicating, it's even harder, because it's like you're already not together and then you're not communicating. We have a goal, like we want to live together. And so like we were looking at apartments and stuff. So like just try to have like a picture of like what you want with that person, because I feel like if you're just kind of like aimlessly going along, like it's really no point. Like it's hard. Have something that you could look forward to, because if you don't, you kind of go crazy.
Yeah, and tell the truth. If you're not together, and it's easy to have bad thoughts about the other person, even if you trust each other.
Knowing what you know now, if you could go back to June 5th when you first met, would you do this all over again?
Yes. Yeah, do it a million times. It's been hard, but it's not been hard because of our fault, just circumstances. So yeah, I would do it again. I would go through it again. How many times?
Yeah, I would too, because I trust him a lot, and he's just warm. It's hard for me to be vulnerable with a lot of people, but with him, I can be vulnerable. I can be crazy. I can take my wig off right now, and he wouldn't be like, oh, get away from me. He's just chill. You know, we have our differences sometimes, but for the most part, it's like we move on, we try to fix it, and then we're fine again. I really adore him. I just know God brought him in my life. The timing was just impeccable. I wish I could go actually further back and meet him earlier.
But do you think you would have been ready for him?
Yes, because I understand what you're saying, because I know like I had certain people come in my life to teach me certain lessons. But let me just tell you right now, I didn't need those lessons because I already knew I didn't need to be treated like garbage, okay? I mean, I'm a prize. You know, we're both prizes here. You know, me and Mohammed are both prizes. And I just like that we treat each other like we're prizes.
I wouldn't go back that far because I wouldn't want to meet her when she's a minor. But
oh. I always forget our age difference. He's not like 40 years old, people, either, because no.
Okay,
we're in the same range.
She's 20 and I'm 23. I'm about to be 24 soon. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for saying that. I didn't think about that part.
But if I could, if I could go back, and I would do it over. Yeah, 100%.
Well, thank you guys again for being on the show. Today we covered the topic, what it's really like to be in a long distance relationship. Thank you again for listening to another episode of Mocha Latte After Dark. I am your host, JJ Fitzgerald. And as always, be true.